It's Bright Banner! Woo! Yay! Wait, what? It's time for a new monster. Stay tuned, and all hail Master Nimzo! Wait, you interrupted the news with your announcement that you arrived? Alright, fair enough. So, uh, the news that we got in early this morning was that today, July 8th, basically for me, the end of the day, but on 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is around 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Grandmaster Nimzo will be able to be scouted, and we will receive new rewards today as well. So, he is a very, very interesting unit. His leadership effect is increased for his attribute breath power by 20%. It's kind of important for him to do damage, but from a leadership overall effect, it is not a top tier skill. Nimzo is a end boss type and is actually more of a debuffer tank role. His damage output is very interesting and can actually do some damage based off level. What you're going to use him for is his major debuff and his tanking ability. His first skill that you get is going to be Frizz Breath damage that can occasionally lower agility. It is a nice line attack, 3 range, fairly good overall in that regards. But remember, this and Purgatory Fireball is breath damage, which is based off of level, and is not nearly as useful as physical skills, unless if you're going to get them to 110. If you want to use him, you are probably going to want to get him to the levels there anyways, because he is used as a tank, and let me tell you, he is quite a beefy tank. But overall, outside of getting him to 110, his damage isn't nearly as high as I would like to see it. But this is Nimzo, breath damage extraordinaire. Purgatory Fireball is 4 attacks of Frizz breath damage to the one unit. It is a fairly powerful skill, once again limited by being a breath attack, but it can still do some decent damage, especially if you use him as a leader. His last skill, though, is what really makes him interesting, is Makai Fog. It greatly lowers attack skill and power of all enemies with high probability. So Bianca had Oomph, which gave you 2 ranks of skill and attack power. This takes away roughly the same equivalent, and so it does greatly decrease the overall strength of enemies. I would say as an arena unit, he's not all that useful, but this can be a very, very good PvE unit, especially against EX boss battles, where it will lower a unit's attack so much that even though he can't help cover, he is very, very good at absorbing damage and allowing a lot of other units to absorb damage as well. His awakening skill, his first dupe has a very interesting awaken skill. Counterattack with a Sizzball, or Frizzball, I should say. Sorry, a Fireball, Frizzball, not Sizz. Frizzball. Very, very interesting counter. It's not super powerful, but because he can absorb so many hits that he will counter, and this is how he kind of helps with damage overall. So it is actually a very unique and interesting first awakening skill that actually has use, even though it's so unique. Zap and Bang is second and fourth, and it Purgatory Fireball power plus 5%, so his second skill gets increased with his third and fifth dupe. So this does become fairly powerful if you get a lot of dupes. Now, Nimzo, level 100 stats, has incredibly high HP at over 1,100. And his defense is very good at 422 as well. Much better than the trolls. So, even though he doesn't have cover abilities, he has very, very high HP and defense, which allows him to soak up damage. And with his very powerful AoE debuff, it can basically make bosses take very little damage. And remember, it's a very large AoE as well, so if there's multiple enemies, which is usually the bane of cover tanks, Nimzo can greatly help with PvE. Now, the MP is 345. This Purgatory Fireball gets down to around 90 if you max it out, and Mackay Fog is around 40 when it's maxed out. So you can do a couple of damages overall, a good attacks, and a couple of Mackay Fogs as well. Generally, what I would suggest, though, is that you keep enough for Mackay Fog, especially if the battle's going to take 8 or 12 turns for PvE. Make sure that you can keep casting it overall. He does have a very interesting restore HP, and I believe NP as well, when an enemy is defeated. When he defeats an enemy, I should say. So he does have some sustainability as well from his personal skill. His attack is very good at 370, which is a bit disappointing considering his skills completely ignore attack. So one of my suggested skills actually uses his attack to his advantage as well. And for being such a big boy, a chunky boy here, his agility is actually pretty good at 322 as well. So he's not going to languish like Squidzilla does, as an example. Wisdom is a little low at 238, but there is some skills that he's a unit that could probably also use a heal. I've got some other suggestions as well, and he's good enough where it's not a complete waste to put it there. His big problem, though, is he's only got 2 movement. His preferred weapon, obviously, is the Demon King's Dagger. Gives you Frizz Breath Potency at 5%. It's Chapter 5, Episode 4. Here you can farm this. Most importantly, it gives quickness and MP, knowing that he is a breath damager. So it allows you to have some more MP and speed, agility as well. Very, very good. Very, very nice weapon for Nimzo. It allows you to also get Purgatory Breath Power, Frizz Breath Potency, MP as well. This dagger is obviously custom made for him, and honestly, they really did a very good job making sure it is useful for Nimzo. So definitely highly suggest that you just leave it on him. His preferred learned skills, I think that the number one skill to use is buff. It's a C skill. This is one of the few C skills that honestly I think it's useful. It greatly increases one ally's defense for 3 turns. You use it on Nimzo himself. He becomes a absolute wall. And with the HP that he has, you could leave him alone, allow him to tank one-on-one, especially with Mackay Fog on top of it, and you can drag out battles for a very long time, for as long as you need it to be dragged out. So I think the skill that you're going to give him should be buff. Others, mid-heal you can give him, or if you want to give him an attack, Blizzard Rush is probably the one that you want to use, but anything other than a first attribute physical type damage you can give on Nimzo, and it would give him some more elemental coverage as well. But personally, give him buff. Turn 1, buff him up, and then second turn is going to be Mackay Fog, and then you can go ahead and do whatever you want to do. I think that's probably the best overall way to go with Nimzo. Mid-heal is another good choice, but I think there's better use to put mid-heal on than Nimzo himself. So his pros, top tier tank with great HP and defense. No cover, but he definitely has a lot of uses with his tank skills. Mackay Fog is a incredible skill for a tank to stay alive. Great for PvE. Uh, in Arena, you could theoretically use it, but he just doesn't do enough damage, so you're not going to get your turn 2 kills using Nimzo. But overall, for PvE, especially for EX battles, Nimzo will allow you to do a lot more things than a lot of other units can, and so that's where he gets his pretty good rankings from, is that one skill along with his tankiness. And that counterattack ability is actually fairly useful, and if you can get a kill with him, he does regain HP as well, so he has regeneration on top of it. So PvE, if you're looking for this, he is very unique in that regards. Cons, I wish his attacks weren't breath attacks, because he has pretty high attack power. Uh, Wisdom was higher so he could use heal skills better. That would really make him really, really interesting and annoying, but it's just not high enough, and movement's locked at 2. His agility is good, though, but he can fall behind in a battle that you need to, like Sorrow back last time, where you need to be able to move your tank in order to get to where you're going and to fight a boss battle that way. He would definitely be struggling with his lack of movement. And what am I going to pull? My answer is no. He's a great tank, and his skills, his Mackay Fog is just an incredible skill. But I think I am okay now with tanks in my PvE area. I just don't have the draw to Nimzo, and I know there are people who are very interested in pulling for Nimzo because they really, really love DQ5, and that's their jam. It's just like what I had for Zoma. So he is a good unit. I just don't think I really need a tank like him for this, even though I will be honest, for the EX battles and for some of the EX battles that are going to be coming soon with a lot of multiple units, him having one heart is going to be an incredible unit to allow you to beat that stuff with a lot less other units needing less CP to survive, because that Mackay Fog is fairly broken in how well it can lower damage. So I hope you guys enjoyed Nimzo's review. As I say, he is a great unit. I really do hope I get him with the tickets that I'll be getting, but I'm also not going to go very hard for getting him myself. This is definitely a unit, though, if I do get, I do see myself using. But I'm a little bit pulled out right now, so I'm going to just have to hope I get lucky. Give me comments below. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. And also you can visit me on YouTube at, or not YouTube, sorry, at Twitch at Madgarou or Twitch/Madgarou. I hope you guys enjoyed everything. Good luck, and I will see you later. Bye, everyone.